Well, I hope everybody's having a great Saturday morning. It's hard for me to believe it's December the 3rd when I look up and realize that it's already another year about away. What a great time of year. I guess Christmas has always been my favorite time of the year. I don't know what else I can say. And it's not because I was a little kid when I was always excited as a child, but as I became an adult, I think the inner child always came out around Christmas. I think I love Christmas more than any season. My mother was that way. So I absolutely I've always loved Christmas. So as you can see, I'm growing my Santa Claus beard for the first time in 40 years. Ronnie's had his forever, and his mother said, I know recognize their beards, but I'm trying to get this thing out. So anyway, guys, there's so many exciting things happening. I talked to Cameron about this week, and I'll just be honest with you. Cameron is about to bust. I mean, he's just so excited about what's going on and the things that we're going to be able to announce here in the next couple of weeks. But with that, it's really great to have guests that get on, and we were trying, each week we try to give you things different and things to learn from and different perspectives. And our first couple today, Gracie and Benny Turner. I mean, I have known them. I'm trying to think how long we've known each other. Probably it's over a decade, well past 10 or 12, 15 years. I'm guessing how long I've known them. And before I introduce them, I mean, here's what's amazing. They're such quality people, but they're always they're never bragging or out in front or trying. This is not their personalities. They got an incredible business. Many leaders that you've heard from are in their team, but Gracie and Benny are just not that kind of people that try to go out and tell you all that. I mean, that's just, sometimes I forget how big their business is. I mean, Gracie and Benny have earned their $10,000 savings bonus not that long ago, but they're consistent. And if there's anybody that could teach you how to build a business and be consistent, it's them. They're not only that, they're the salt of the earth kind of people that'll just do anything for anybody. I have such ultimate respect for them, and I've really probably never told them that to their faces till today. So I want them to know how much I appreciate them, but I really want them to kind of tell, and they don't know I'm going to do this to them probably, but I want them to tell their story. I want them to just kind of explain, because I know for those that don't know, they were in the ministry, pastor. I mean, Benny pastored, I don't even know how many years. So I'm not going to try to explain the story. I just know a little bit about it. So as we get started, before you talk about what's going on with your business, why don't you tell us your background and how you ended up and why you decided to join this industry and how long you've been doing it?
Good morning, Chris. Thank you for having us on. Thank you for those kind words. We have learned to love and appreciate you so much over the years. Yes, it has been years, but it's been a great journey. So I came into this industry because we had retired from pastoring, and I was before the Lord wondering what the next part of my journey was going to look like as far as ministering to people. And he walked a lady through the front door of our office, and she said, I am here to see Benny and Gracie Turner. So we sat down with her, and she said, I've been riding up and down the street here in front of your office for 30 minutes arguing with the Holy Spirit, and I finally gave up, and here I am. I told him, you're busy people, you don't have time for this. But she presented it to us, and she left the video with us. I brought it home, sat in the floor of the living room watching it over and over and over, and crying and praying and just feeling in my spirit this was what God had brought. But I was waiting on my husband, because when he, I'm used to following him in the ministry. He said, the Lord said, do this. Okay, we do this. So I'm waiting on him. Finally, I said to him, do you think that I can do this? And he said, oh, wow, yes, absolutely. So we get started, and it was just great. It was just great. So, and it's so life transforming. You have to be willing to get in there and read and learn and change, or you don't survive. So I praise the Lord for that. And in the middle of all that, Chris, over the years, life happens, and you just have to deal with it. And so I never stopped my business. That's one thing that Todd said to us early on. Don't ever stop your business, no matter what kind of speed zone you go through. You may have to slow way down, but if you stay in the business, you will come back up to a 80-mile-an-hour speed zone. I don't know where, but anyway, we will. So I stayed, and I am so thankful and blessed that I did. And in this process of gearing back up, Benny and I are backing out of the financial industry that God allowed him to build as well, and finding more and more time to do this. And then God brought us our new pastor. And being a pastor's wife, being a preacher's kid, my heart is to help the people in ministry with their retirement. And this is the best way that I know of to help people in the ministry, because they have a call on their life, and they're wanting to focus on that call. So there's not a lot of time and energy for building a business. So I love this industry because we can help each other without that person having to be 100% on the road all the time. So God gave us a new pastor. We began to share and talk because his heart was for health. He and his wife were into it. They have 4 small children. And we just began talking, and I shared with him a book that I had recently read that just totally brought into perspective the spiritual side of our lives when it comes to food. And then we got to talking about the spiritual side of our finances. And we, in the verse of 3 John 1 and 2, I would that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So we started building this on those 3 legs, that you prosper financially, you prosper in your health, and as your soul is prospering as well. And so we get started, and that's what's happening here in our area. Pastor brought in Todd, and so he allowed Todd, myself, and Benny to have a Sunday morning, which was really, really scary. He did not live stream it that morning, and you can guess why, because we 3 presented to the congregation, and when we finished, we didn't know whether they were going to run us out of town on a rail or run towards us. So pastor came on after the 3 of us finished, and he said, okay, we have a sign-up sheet in the back. Go back there and talk to Benny, Gracie, and Todd. If you have any questions, ask them. If you're interested in a health and financial transformation class, just sign up on the list. Chris, I was blown out of the water. The people came toward us, not toward the door. It was phenomenal. So I am so excited to be on this journey and to be able to help our pastor with his retirement. And his wife said to me the other day, she says, well, when can I get started? I said, you started with pastor. Okay, we're going to do this together. But I just want to encourage people who are wanting to speak to their pastor, don't know how. You just need to, you've got to be real yourself. You've got to own this industry. You've got to believe in your products, and you've got to just be, it's got to just come out of you naturally when you sit with your pastor and share it with them. And you've got to share your heart on what their future could look like if they join with you and start down this road, because you need something that is residual, that's going to build over time, and it's not transactional. So I'm just very thankful to be here. I'm thankful for my husband, who is more than supportive and just gives me all the room that I need to do what I feel like God has me doing right now. So it's a wonderful life, Chris. Thank you. And now Benny can share with you, if you want him to,
I do.
what caused him to believe in this industry.
I want Benny also to tell what he does, in his other business, because he's also, this is not just y'all's only business. Benny works in the financial world. I think it's important to know. I think a lot of times people think somebody joins us because they're in desperation mode, and that really wasn't the case. Y'all looking for residual, I know that, but I want Benny to kind of talk about what what he does on the other side.
Okay, good morning, everybody. It's really great for us to be here and to have a small part in this morning. But we pastored for 34 years, Chris, just so you know, after a number of years in the Navy. But nonetheless, at about 54 years old, after pastoring for 20 some year, 25, 30 years, I woke up one morning at 54 years old and thought to myself, Lord, in 10 years, 12 years, I'm supposed to be retiring. I don't have a penny for retirement. Because it always seemed prudent to me to, from the church's perspective, at least, as we were pastoring and trying to grow churches, that the church needed the money more than we did. And so often we just turned the money right back to them, whatever it was that came in that was supposed to come to us, we just left in the church because it seemed like they needed it more. So the only work I did in those days was just enough to keep me, my habit alive, that habit of preaching. I was addicted to being a pastor and serving people. But at 54, I woke up and thought I'm going to need to retire in the next 10 or 12 years. And Lord, what happens if I die between now and then? My wife's going to live on Social Security, such as it is, and no more. And that's not fair to her, to marry her and live with her for 30 or 40 or 50 years. And we've been married 56 years, by the way, at this point. So nonetheless, I started looking for something to do and ended up in the financial industry. So we built a financial planning and money management business over the following 22 years. And y'all listen up now. Overhead was $35,000 to $40,000 a month.
I hear.
I'm 35.
Right.
It was $35,000 to $40,000 a month, y'all, to keep that business going. What I told Todd yesterday on our meeting was, if I'd just known at that point what the power of multi-level marketing, if I had started doing that when I started the financial services business, I could have probably made that much money every month and out of my living room rather than buying a building and having 3 to 7 full-time employees and their families dependent upon me and us. But nonetheless, we were able to sell the financial planning part of the business last year. Still have some fixed annuity and life insurance business that I'm selling hopefully today. Y'all be in prayer. But anyway, it would have been a great thing if we could have started here rather than just ended up here. But my wife has been part of it. She's been active as much as she was able to do so, being our comptroller at full time at the business, and all kinds of things, personal things happening in our family. But we're just happy to be here this morning, and I'm happy to be part of this great industry and of this great company. And don't we have some wonderful leadership, y'all? I think, man, I'm so happy with everything that's going on right now, and with Chris and Todd and all the rest of you. I really believe that we're the only place we've got to go is up.
Well, the one thing I should also mention, Todd's not with us, and he was on the flyer. Todd is actually in Montgomery, Alabama, training. Might be with your team, actually. I don't know. I think it's actually somebody on your team. Gracie, I'm not positive about that because they got a big organization, and people. Here's the thing: people don't realize they're kind of quiet about it. You get leaders that go out and brag about it, and you got the leaders that don't talk about it. But since you're a financial guy, I want you to talk about residual income just a little bit, because I believe a lot of times people. I get people that constantly would talk about, they don't understand how important a residual income is. By the way, I'm about to get my first Social Security check.
Whoa!
I have Now and I'm about to collect a social security check. And when I looked at how much they were going to send me, and I looked at, and I don't know about anybody else. So these young people don't get it. They're going to give you a printout of what you paid in and how much your social, that you get to look at that under your system. Depressing was not the right word for it. I was like, all this money I've spent over all these 40 years it is that I've paid in, and all the money they've taken out, especially when I was really flourishing in my other business. I'm like, and I won't go into the figures, but I'll promise you this: I make more, double per week what I'm going to collect from this, what they want me to live off of. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So if you're depending on Social Security, there's a lot of people say it's not going to be around. I'm convinced it's going to stick, but I believe it would be too big of a revolt. But here's the point: do you want to live that way? I can't pay my normal monthly bills, and we'd have to change how we're living dramatically. But in order to live off of that, but I do want you to talk about the power of residual just a little bit.
Oh, listen. When I started this financial business, I started in life insurance and fixed annuities. And that meant that every single day that I got up, if I wasn't selling something, I wasn't making any money. I had to sell something that day. I had to sell something that week. I certainly had to sell something that month, because if I didn't, when all those bills started coming in, they didn't care whether I had the money or not. They wanted their money. Okay, so I worked for the first 5 or 6 years on a transactional basis, and mercy, I mean, it was pressure every single day. Then I decided I was going to do money management, because with money management, I would charge an annual fee as a registered investment advisor, which would mean that as long as that client was a client, I was getting a little bit of money from every one of those clients every month, just to manage their money by the month. That's almost residual, because it will continue as long as the client stays with me, but it's not exactly what residual income will do for you. But I can tell you, the power of residual income cannot be overestimated. It is absolutely, when I talk to people, and in fact, one of the things I started doing with a lot of the seniors who were coming in, we did tax planning, Social Security planning, Medicare planning, all of those things we help people get through, required minimum distributions, all those things we did. But they would want to know, Benny, what can we do to help ourselves with our tax situation? Well, one of the things you can do is start a new business, a business. And here's the kind of business you need. One you can put in a suitcase, go visit your kids in South Dakota, and take your business with you. Get off the airplane and make money while you're there just by talking to folks, and then take the whole thing off your taxes. So not only do you get the power of residual income, which is lifetime income, rather than transactional income, you get paid again and again and again. And when we did planning too with business people, I can't tell you untold number of people that the most powerful, the best, the fairest business system there is out there is multi-level marketing, because you will get paid what you deserve to get paid based on what you do. What you put in, you're going to get out. As you sow, so shall you reap. But residual income there's no other way to say it except that it's the single most powerful form of income that you can have, because it's going to pay you forever, as long as people are in your downline and working. So I'm 77. I plan to do this until I'm 80. And then I'm going to go out in my backyard and get me a hoe and a shovel, and I'm going to plant me a garden. And I'm going to live on residual income, y'all.
Well, I haven't got a garden, but I've been living on it for a while. I'm not that near motivated. I'm not that good at growing. It seems like I can grow a plant that you can't eat, but I can't seem to grow the ones that are edible. But I want to point out something that he said that a lot of people miss, and that is that business is tax deductible, and you can travel, and it leaves you open. And people laugh at me when I say I haven't been on vacation in 22 years. But I've been a lot of places. I've been to a lot of beautiful places. and either company paid for a trip or I went to do work at somewhere I wanted to be because I can select. By the way, no offense to my Canadian friends, but I'm not picking Minnesota or the cold weather to build a new business. I'm picking nicer areas that are where I want to hang out. But at any rate, the power of residual is hard to explain unless you have actually experienced it. And that's really the way to describe it, until you've experienced it. And I get people all the time that talk to me about the comp plan and they want to talk about, they don't, so many in our industry pay up front. I've been there. I've been with two companies, one company that paid a lot of money up front and I made more money per month, but it wasn't residual. Here, I make less as per month than I did then, but I don't, guys, I'm in my socks. And I haven't been in a dressed up in a suit and anything in a while. I haven't been in a hotel room because the Zoom has closed the world. And yes, you have to work. I don't want to give the wrong impression, but if you ever experience getting a team together and it's growing, just like I told you right before the call, I've got a guy I've never met that joined my business who was interested in Noni, a different brand that I knew nothing about, but he's called me now. He's using Renew System. He don't even know what the Catalyst Club is, and he is a VIP. He has no idea. I tried to explain, so I don't need to know about that. I just love this stuff. Well, that's great. I can't even get him on Zooms. He just wants to, but he's putting another person in today because he loves the product. And by the way, he had been in network marketing. And guess what company he'd been with? 20 years ago, he was in Noni.
Wow.
And stopped the company out, found me. And so sometimes you just don't understand. Hanging around, sticking around long term, good things begin to happen. So at any rate, it's thank you so much for being on. By the way, Gracie, that might have been the most I've heard you speak in a row, because you're a quiet person. And when people say quiet, people don't know. You think you're the talkers. Let me tell you something. Gracie listens and she leads with her heart. And that's what I know about you. Everything you do with everybody. I have the utmost respect for both of you guys, and I don't talk to y'all a lot. Not on my team, but we aren't. I kind of say we are on the same team, but yet I'm not financially tied to you is what I want to point out.
Oh, we're on the same team.
Yeah, we are on the same team. And not everybody feels that way about things, but I'm going to tell you something. The majority of this company all works together and is looking to be on the same team. You'll always find some that's not what it's about, but
yes.
But the ones that work together really build something special. Thank y'all for agreeing to be on. I know that was kind of, Todd said they've agreed. I said, okay, we're going to get them made up here really quick. And with that, we again, thank you. Look forward to talking to you again. Merry Christmas. We'll see you guys. We'll talk to you before that, of course.
Merry Christmas to you.
And I'm going to do something now that James, I'm going to go straight to James, because I know James is a strong person of spirit, and I'm not trying to make this a God call, but I know James is hard. I've watched him. I've been around him now, got to meet with him in person a few times, and I know James is a strong person of spirit. And I know I was watching his expressions when they were talking. I thought James is going to love this couple right now. He probably doesn't know him very well, but I'm like, James is going to tell me right off the bat, I love that. I love Gracie and Benny. I could see it in his face. Am I right?
Yeah, had a chance to meet Gracie at convention though. That was great. She tapped me on the shoulder and it was awesome. So yeah, love that a lot. But Chris, thanks for having me on. You're looking amazing.
This beard it's got everybody's off because so maybe I can grow it out enough. I can spot my beard.
Yes. Hey, we should do a reverse thing. We'll take a photo together. That's gonna work.
It's sticking up on the top to spike like yours, but James has been an amazing, become an amazing friend. We're not financially tied. I was thinking about that this morning as I look around here. We're not financially tied either, but what are we? We're trying to help each other build an amazing company, which in the long term helps everybody. And that's our goal. It's always been my goal. I'm never worried about who is where. I see Tracy Ternberg on here. We've actually promoted him up, and he doesn't know it. So I'm gonna warn you, Tracy, I'm gonna call you out here in just a second. But James, I know that you're excited. I know you've been out to Salt Lake. I was out there with you already, and then you went back again. And you've got a new lady on your team, but I'm just going to kind of turn this to you. I didn't tell you what I wanted. I just kind of gave you a time frame, what you're going to talk about. And James has shared his boards program with me. By the way, just so you know, I actually downloaded it and using it. And they're like, how you know this guy? I'm like, he's just a friend from my business. It doesn't matter. But the point is, the system works if you work it. So James, with that, I'm gonna turn it to you, and then you can introduce our guest that you've got that's you're excited about, and we're glad to have Pam on this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris, for the opportunity here. And thanks everybody for your time here as well. And I'd love to see you all. Visibility is accountability. So we got some cameras. We'd love to see you, and put a one in the chat if you can hear me right now. I want to make sure we're engaged and everything as well too, because the goal today is transformation. The goal today is breakthrough. And specifically the goal that I want to talk about is your next level. And I think each and every single one of us, I'm just talking to myself, and I love seeing the ones coming in the chat right there. But as I was thinking about this, I don't know how you feel, but December is kind of a weird month for me. It might be for you as well too, because it's exciting, Christmas, it's all great as well too, but especially all of us being entrepreneurs and being people of ambition, it's also a time of great reflection as well too. And if I'm to be honest with you, I've loved many aspects of our year. We just came back from Tahiti. We went to Costa Rica earlier this year. Like, there's a lot of blessings and all that. But perhaps you feel like me as well too, where you know that there's still another level in you as well too. If you believe there's another level in you, put a me in the chat. Put a me in the chat. And that's what I want to be able to extract amongst all of us today, because we're in such a great time right now. We're doing good. I see North America, I see the Catalyst Club, and now everything that's going on. We're doing good, but is good good enough? I don't want good. Good is the biggest enemy to great. And I want to make sure that, at least for me, right? When I talk, I just talk to me, honestly, right? And if it makes sense for you, then awesome as well too. But what is it that we need to do to take things to the next level? So give you a quick story. How did this even come about? It's a great honor to be on here, but there's so many amazing leaders here. Gracie and Betty were incredible. I was so inspired by them, and so many of you could take the stage as well too. But I got a message yesterday. We're actually in the middle of a 3-day, I don't know if you know this, because we're in the middle of a 3-day virtual GoPro event. So virtual GoPro is Eric's Warrior, like, biggest virtual conference. I know many of you are there as well too. So it started yesterday, and I was about to get ready at 8 a.m. I get a message from Todd Rowland at like 7:30 a.m. He's like, James, can you call me real quick? And I'm like, when Todd calls, I'm like, we need to talk, you know? So we end up talking, and he talks about, and it's great to see people expanding, right? Todd's running a whole training right now. That's awesome. And he said, would you be willing to step in and share? And my first thought was, honestly, oh my gosh, I'm about to go through 3 days of this whole thing. It's like, 12-hour days or something. And then my second notion was, this is the only way that you're going to be able to get to your next level is to step up into opportunities, no matter how inconvenient that it is. There was a quote that we heard yesterday, which was, inconvenience will actually showcase your commitment. Inconvenience will showcase your commitment. So I'm not saying it was inconvenient at all. It actually worked out perfectly, because I want to get up early and everything. So I'm always down. I'm always a yes. I just want to make sure I can make the time. So it worked out perfectly, because the event's starting later on as well too. But I was thinking about that and meditating on that. It was really on my mind to think, how can we best help everyone here today as well too? And I'll tell you what happened, Chris. So we went to sleep at like 10 p.m. or something. I got up at 12:30 a.m. and I couldn't get back to sleep. Have you guys had those days where you just can't sleep, right? You're just excited, you're thinking, right? And what I was thinking about? I was thinking about each and every single one of you. And I was praying, I'm like, God, what do you want me to say to these people? They're amazing leaders. Like, how do we take things to the next level? And I'll share with you one piece of, I know everyone not might be of faith, but it's an interesting story. And this is in the Bible in Joel 2. And it's ironic that Gracie and Benny were on today as well too. But this is what's so fascinating, right? So just to give you the story, the context, Joel's an amazing passage. Just what came to my mind. And it is during a time where all the Israelites, they're going through a big famine, a big plague. Locusts took over their crops. They got invaded. Like, it was bad. And maybe for some of you, you had a bad year. Like, it was tough. We all just went through some tough stuff, didn't we? And it was like trial after trial, challenge after challenge, breakdown, setback after setback. Put a 2 in the chat if you felt like this last year you had some of those in your life. And it was like, man, I'm barely hanging on. I made it here. I'm excited. I have the faith. I have the hope of the dream. But oh man, I barely made it right here, right? And what happens is there's a promise here in Joel 2. And I just want to share it for the sake of the story. And the promise came, Joel was a prophet. It said, this is Joel 2:28. It will come about after this that I will pour out my spirit on all mankind, and your sons and your daughters will prophesy. Your old men will have dreams. Your young men will see visions. And I thought about that, and I thought about each and every single one of us, because we have old men and women, and we have young men and women. And regardless of the age, it doesn't matter. The same spirit is there, but dreams and visions. Dreams and visions. You know, there's another level of your dream and vision for your life right now. And I believe that what's going on right now, that what we each need, what I need myself, is I need to make sure that I'm dreaming to the next level. What do you do at the end of 2022? This is when people are slowing down typically, right? This is when people are bundling, I'm bundled up right here, right? They're kind of getting cozy and kind of slowing down, waiting for 2023. They're waiting for the new year, the new me. But you guys already know, due to experience, that never works, does it? Waiting until the new year, setting new Year's resolutions. Successful people, what they do is they start now. And I want to challenge each and every single one of us today to dream new dreams, to dream bigger visions ever than before, because this is the right time and this is the right place. Don't we agree? We got this interesting period of relaunch of this company. We got the merge of a gigantic economic recession around the world, which, Chris, I was so inspired because if you guys know, Chris and Todd and everyone in their leadership, that company went through momentum during the last recession. Guess what we're in right now? Another recession, I think. So they don't really say it, but I think it is, right? We know things are shifting, right? Put it to you in the chat if you can tell that things in the economy have shifted. You know, you can see housing prices start to turn around. You can see that people have been getting laid off, furloughs. These things are starting to happen, right? And I believe it's going to get worse before it gets better still. Like it's, you know, there's still a lot of things that are going on. So there's a huge opportunity. That's when the millions were made. And I'm like, man, this is the time. But the only way that we're going to be able to capture this vision and capture this dream and capture this opportunity, it's not only just we have amazing products, we have an amazing opportunity, but it takes each and every single one of us stepping up as individual leaders collectively and aspiring to new visions and new dreams. So this is what I'm doing for myself. And here's a couple things to take notes on if it makes sense for you. This is what I'm saying to myself. This is what I'm saying to my team. Number one, how do you make your next year incredible? How do you get your dreams and aspirations bigger and better and everything, okay? Number one, here's my challenge to everybody. End this year like you would launch next year. End this year like you would launch next year. Don't wait until 2023. This is the time to double down. This is a separation season. When others are slowing, this is when you can stand out. People are looking for leaders to step out. And if you don't view yourself as a leader, I'm telling you, you are, because leaders are influenced, nothing more, nothing less, like John C. Maxwell says. You're influencing someone. It's either in a positive or negative way. Let's be people of positive. Let's be people of positive influence, right? So we have to lead ourselves first. So how do we do that? Here's a couple of things that I'm doing right now. Number one, I'm actually doing a personal transformation now rather than in January. I'm doing a personal transformation now rather than in January. My question to you is this: how's your product transformation story doing? Are we letting it slide a little bit? Are we letting the holidays get to us? Did Thanksgiving tune in the holidays for us and be like, that's just how it is? Or can we be leaders right now? We have, at least in United States, I know Canada's going to have their own thing as well too. Did you guys see there's a whole Slenderize challenge going on? Put it to you in the chat if you saw there's a Slenderize challenge going on. They're throwing over $3,500 on the table. It's a lot. And the way I would look at that is, of course, we want to win. You know what's going to build your business better, what's going to help your dreams better. Get your transformation now so you can inspire others to get into the Slenderize challenge later to help them win. Start thinking like leaders. That's what I need to do myself. Right? Good. Yeah. Personal transformation starts right now. I've lost 10 pounds in the last week or so. I'm trying to be as fit as possible, as ready as possible. Personal, spiritual, financial, emotional, everything. Transform now so you can run into the holidays different. You are your own best billboard for the opportunity, for the product, for everything that we have. So end the year strong. Number 2, lead from the front. Lead from the front. And start with your own personal standard. I want to bring our attention to this Catalyst Club thing. All right, put a 1 in the chat if you're real serious about making it into that Catalyst Club. If you don't know what that is, it's such a great time. Just like what Chris was saying, there's some people that are even qualifying now without even knowing. Like, it's a great time and it's a limited exclusive opportunity. All right. And I know there's a lot of people that have already made progress. A lot of people have already qualified. And I want to give a big congratulations to everybody. But I also want to challenge each and every single one of us on our standards of how we view the Catalyst Club as well. Who here knows the deadline for the Catalyst Club? When's the deadline? Drop it in the chat if you know. It's a 3-month. Yeah, the 31st, right? January 31st. You know, most people think I got until the 31st to get Catalyst VIP 3, or maybe just make it to Catalyst VIP 1. But I gotta say, is that how a top money earner would think? Let me ask you this question. For the type of income that you want to make in your business, what deadline do you think that they would set for VIP 3? What do you think? Now, today, yeah, overdue by now, right? Yesterday. I love it. We already know the right answer, right? We already know the right answer. It's just, we have to capture the vision and the dream. We have to step into that next level ourselves, right? So start to think to ourselves that, and it doesn't matter. Circumstances are just excuses. It really doesn't matter. One thing I made a commitment to, maybe it's because I woke up at 12:30 in the morning today, Chris, is I made a commitment that I need to level up my own standard myself, and I need to help other people keep accountable to a higher standard as well too, if that's all right. Because I love you all. I love this group. I love our team, and we got to kick some serious butt. All right. And here's one side note as well too, right? We were in Tahiti, and we had a bunch of fun and everything. And I think most people here in North America, and if you're in other markets, and no offense to you, whereas we were in Tahiti, you know what happened was we had this group shot. It was awesome. We had like almost 300 people from around the world, and it was great. It was good times and everything. But you know what I missed the most? I missed that a lot of our North American friends were not on this trip. In fact, I spoke with Alan DeGrail. Alan's one of the vice presidents on corporate for Europe. And he said, and there was a bunch of Europeans there. They were living it up. They were loving it. And you know what he said? He said, you know, I want North America to be the #1 market. I don't want Europe to be the #1 market. I want North America to be it. And I'm like, me too. Put a me too in the chat if you want us to be the #1 market in the world. To be the #1 in the world. Joe Eder, I have no idea. And to be honest, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The longer it is, the better, because we have opportunity right now. There's opportunity when there's uncertainty. There's opportunity when there's mystery, when there's curiosity, right? I love that. I hope I can extend it, but I think it's going to be sometime soon. Chris probably knows better than I do as well too. Use this opportunity wisely, right? So as I think about the next leadership, what do we need to do right now? Transform yourself, lead from the front on that. Be the product of the product right now. As you're walking around about your family and friends and everything, show them that we're living life a different way. And number 2 is set a different standard for this Catalyst Club for your business. And don't let the excuses of it being holidays or anything else be any different. I'm living it myself. I set a mission. I set a goal. I said, even though we're going to Tahiti, I need to get on this VIP 3 thing ASAP. And while we were in Tahiti, we qualified for VIP 3. It doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what's going on around you. Nothing about your results is circumstantial. It begins with the decision of the mind. So my challenge is end this year strong. End this year like you would launch 2023. And you're going to have the most spectacular end of the year. You're going to walk out feeling proud. You're not going to be one of those other 2022 was okay. 2023, let's go. I'm so excited. 2022 ended this way. Let's launch 2023. I'm on a sprint now. I'm ready. You know, and we all need to level up to the next level. So Chris, I'm so honored as well because, and I hope this put a 1 in the chat if you're committed to accepting these challenges for this month. Now I'm telling you, you're still going to enjoy time with family. You're still going to enjoy time with friends. I'm not saying sacrifice. Do it all. Have a hyper life, right? Be the person that can do all of it. Why not? It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive, right? We're still enjoying it all that is still to you, right? Have a great life. But what's going to bring joy is growth and contribution there, right? So, Chris, I was so honored as well, and I wanted to bring up. Thanks for letting me invite a friend of mine as well too, and to illustrate this point, we're talking about dreaming new dreams, right, and having new visions and everything. There's a person that I've been very honored to partner with. She's one of our top leaders. She's a senior officer. She has an incredible story. And what I really appreciate about Pam is that she has, some of us might be thinking, well, James, you got all this energy, but straight up, you're like young, you're young. I get it. Back when I was there, like, yeah, you got that type. I would have that type of spunk as well too. But remember, the passage I read was that old men will dream dreams. Okay, it's not just young people. It was old men first, and women, of course. Pam is not 33 years old, but Pam, if you don't mind me asking, I know some of us might know you, but some of us might not. But do you mind sharing a little bit about your background story?
Oh, thank you, James. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for allowing me to share. So yes, I am so I have been a registered nurse for the last 40 something years. I raised my children as a single mom, and I've known one thing all of my life. If you ever wanted to go beyond where you were, you needed to do something different. I love what Benny said about these multiple streams of income. And so I tried it many times, 10 of them to be exact, this being the 10th, and 9 times I failed miserably. And when I got introduced to this company about 7 years ago, I actually made more in the first 6 months than I had made in all 9 other companies combined. And the one thing I want to say to that, it's the training that we have with our company, with the app, with everything, which has made such a difference. So I loved Benny and Gracie's story, because I too was retiring, listening to Chris, retiring, and I knew I needed that second income. I knew I needed to do something different, and I was praying about it as well. It's funny how the Lord just put us all together. All of us have our deep-rooted spiritual beliefs. I'm praying for another opportunity because I realized that even though I had a pension and Social Security, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to travel the world. It wasn't enough to celebrate with my 3 children and 6 grandchildren, my husband, around the world. I was so capped at what I'd be able to do. So the blessing of, I prayed about it, and literally 10 days after retirement, I met you all. So this business came into my life. And for those of you who don't know, you did ask me my age. I will be 68 on next Saturday.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, it's been a long time. It's made a huge difference having that residual income, and yeah.
Pam, I just saw Chris's jaw drop. Chris, I'm curious, how old did you think Pam was? I'm just curious.
I figured 50 at the most. When I heard her say she had been a nurse, I thought maybe I misunderstood.
I know.
Misunderstood how long she was going to be. She's been a nurse, and then when I'm like, okay, you're older than me.
I am older than you.
You don't believe that. We both know that. Goodness gracious, you got some good progress going on.
I do. If it's because of them, yes.
Oh my gosh, Chris, amazing. And I just want to share that real quick as well too, because age, it's that cliche, age is just a number.
Yeah.
It is like your mindset really is a big difference, right? I believe that if you had breath today, God's not done with you yet.
Yeah.
there's still purpose for you.
Yes.
Right. And every single person on this line has a purpose that needs to be lived. And your story matters to this company. Your story matters to this opportunity. Somebody needs to hear it. There's other people out there right now, you know? So Pam, I want to ask you what's really, because Pam's been doing a lot. She's VIP 1 Catalyst Club qualified now. She's almost level 2. She's just running through that. But you've been having a renewed hustle, like a different phase of your life, you know?
Yeah.
And Pam, what's firing you up right now
Mhm.
in your stage of life on this?
Well, yes. So number one, this Catalyst Club, I will be level 3 as everybody on this call, we will be level 3. I took your call to actions because what you said here is what you said to us personally, and that we need to transform ourselves. We need to do it now. We can't wait until January. We have to set a standard for ourselves, which is that Catalyst Club. And we need to end the year strong. So one thing I want to say that we haven't talked about yet today is, they say it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks and all of that. Well, we're not dogs, we're people. And we can learn anything that we put our mind to it. And the one thing that I was reluctant to do was social media. That's you youngins. You guys do such can do that. But when you're over 50 or over 40, that's just not how we grew up. I can have my grandkids do something, but not me. But I knew that if I wanted to grow, if I wanted to change, I was going to have to step outside my box, and I was going to have to do the uncomfortable until it became comfortable. And so you put out a social media challenge to our team that in 30 days we would learn it. And I tried it earlier in the year. I did Rock Johnson's and that didn't work. So, but I changed my mindset and said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I have to do it for me. I have to do it for my teammates. My teammates are all over 50. So, and my teammates are older than me. They're in their 70s, and it doesn't matter. Anybody can learn how to do it. So I did a TikTok challenge for 21 days, and people started seeing. And what's funny about that? I actually can do TikTok now. So I love to teach it. So it's not only about learning something; it's about doing it. It's about applying it, and it's being consistent with it. Because if you're not consistent, you're going to forget, especially at our age, we're going to forget. So we have to apply it every single day. So the challenge is what made a difference in my business and started moving me forward. And I want to let everyone know that there are so many people that look at your stories that you have no idea. So if you're like me and you say, I only have 100 people or 10 people or 5 or whatever, no one's liking my stories, no one's saying anything, don't worry. They don't have to say anything, but they're watching you. They are lurking. And one thing that I learned, because I came from the old school of doing this business where we met in your homes, we met in offices, and we brought people in. And with COVID, all that changed, and we had to learn a new system. So we had to learn Zoom. We had to do things differently. So you either go with the changes or you get lost in the shuffle. And so we learned this new model of social media and getting on Zoom. So it was a little bit easier to move the next step. But if we don't apply it, we'll forget it. So it is about hearing what you say and then doing it every day.
And what happened? I know you had some pretty cool successes as well.
Yes, thanks. So my story was, yes. So in the offices, you taught us how to do an invite. And I remember sitting there in your office crying because I couldn't get the invite right.
How long ago was this, Pam?
This was like 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago. And you guys were relentless, you and Becky. Like, I had to get this invite right. And I'm thinking, I am just too old. I had just, retired, and trying to get this. It was just like a whole new world. But anyway, I I gave an example of somebody I really wanted to talk to. She's a dear friend, her and her husband. I see them struggling. I knew them from church, and I just had to share this business with her. And so I practiced relentlessly. I can't even tell you how many recordings I did on my phone. Anyway, she wasn't interested. She's like, no, I just can't afford it. Da, 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 da. 5 years ago, she's never responded to any of my stories. She's never liked or anything. And out of the blue, about 2 weeks ago, she called me and said, I see you with this stuff. What is this Renew? I just want to try it. I just want to try it. And then I know it's going to be expensive, but anyway, so 5 years later, not a word from her. She reaches out to me and she gets the trial and she says, my husband told me I need to call you back. I need to get more. I'm so sad that
Like
it's
in
been
that
all
libido,
this
huh?
time. Yeah, he's like, oh no, she needs this. So I'm like, no, you both need this. So as we're talking and learning more about what she needs, because it really is about what you need and not that I'm trying to sell something. They do need it. So now she's going to be one of my newest brand partners. They're super excited about this. But the lesson is that people are lurking, people are watching. Don't give up, be consistent, do this every day.
That's so
And your people will come. Your people will come.
I love
Yeah.
that, Pam. Thanks for sharing that.
Mhm.
And I wonder who here knows that social media is important, but you haven't been like all in on it yet. Put a 1 in the chat if you're like, and it's like, I don't know, it's like, it's different. I don't know. It's like, and I'm not saying ditch anything else. Home parties are
Mhm.
great, in-person meeting, all of them work, right? Don't ditch what works. But if there's another level, if we know that it's another tool, especially in this day and age, and we want to
Mhm.
reach out to more generations all over the place, why not?
Yeah.
And it's just so amazing to hear Pam being 68, growing up on typewriters, literally, being able now, she's literally teaching TikTok courses now and everything, which is awesome. And we're not even talking about TikTok, but just, your Facebook, wherever it is that you're posting right now that you're used to, choose somewhere and start to share more about your life, So Chris, we have a quick challenge we'd love to give to the group. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
So Pam,
Yes.
what do you think we can do? Hey, put a me in the chat if you're down for a social media challenge. That could be fun and help your business. Put a me in the chat if you're down for something. All right. Awesome. Want to make sure that things get done. Want to make sure we get everyone here in the Catalyst Club. All right. So Pam, what's something that we can all do today?
So as you mentioned, end this year strong and start on your transformation now. Don't wait. Of course, it's going to get you into that Catalyst Club. So it all lines up. So for those of you who are afraid of social media, how about just doing a live on Facebook? Most of us, everyone, we're here, we hear about everything via Telegram and Facebook, our groups. So what if we just say to you, here's my challenge, just do, I'm gonna do the live. Yeah, do the live. Just talk about a golden nugget that you got from today's call. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be James. It could be Chris. It could be Gracie, Bernie. It doesn't matter, Benny. It doesn't matter who, but talk about this team that you're in and a golden nugget you learned today and something that you want to start applying today in your life, and then do it. And for those of you who want TikTok, that's another subject, but we could talk about that. So you could reach out to me. But does that sound doable, you guys? If you could just put a yes in the comments that you will just do a live. It doesn't matter how long it is. Just get on there live today and just share a golden nugget that you learned and that you want to continue to do throughout this month to get you where you want to be next month.
I love the action takers. Thanks, man. Chris?
One thing I want to add to what she just said that a lot of people forget and miss, and she talked about the couple that it was 5 years. So what happens if she gave up in a year? What happened if she gave up in her second year? See, what the consistency, what most people don't understand is timing for everybody is different. Whatever what makes our company so great, and this is just as I've talked with many leaders around, is that everything, it doesn't always fit the right person. I have another person that's interested in joining my business right now, and it's my banker. She's
Hmm.
Loa. She wasn't interested in Noni. She's young, but she asked my wife, how did her skin look so good at her age? Now, Judy's trying to tell her, and I'm like, oh, let me send you some videos. And I will tell you, I switched immediately into a different mode. But what I want it, so listening to that, but the timing is what I want to point out, that those people, maybe the time in their life wasn't right. I can assure you, if someone would call me, and I had been called about other network marketing companies when I was in the losing business. I didn't have time. I was making plenty of money. But guess what? Timing changed. So as long as you stay the course, you're going to find good people that join your business. And it's hard to put that into words. And it's just so amazing. And I look across here, guys, y'all realize how many great leaders are on this call right now that could be running, that do run their own calls. James is always great to give his time, but he got up at before 7, because actually he said he got up in the middle of the night. So you've been up all night, obviously using your Rejuvenex right now. But I think sometimes we don't realize that it's more about sticking and staying and then getting inspired. I had someone actually said to me, this Catalyst Club's not a big deal. I'm like, well, it probably won't be for you. Because that's the mindset. So it's going to be big for those who do it. I see my business growing. Tracy, I know I put you on the spot. I saw you join our call, and it's someone who is another, again, not financially tied, but you know what's important? We are tied, because I met Tracy. I don't even know how long it's been now. Taught me about Noni, got me drinking it actually. And here's the funny part. Now that I knew about, because he taught me about it, I've got this guy that doesn't even know he's a catalyst. I'm trying to explain it to him. Let's just keep putting people in this branch. He don't call him a leg. Let's put him in this other branch. I'm like, I don't care where he's putting them. He keeps sending people to me. I've had another text from him. I tried to get him to get on this call. The guy has got another one because he's excited. Excitement on fire makes a difference. Tracy, parting words here. I wanted to bring you on just because you just joined us on some Saturday. So,
thanks, Chris. There's some things that don't make sense and things that make sense. The don't make sense is I'm looking at Chris Doyle with a beard. That does not make sense to me. That visually does not make sense. You got Pam lying to us, telling us that she's 68 years old, and clearly that's a lie. And then we have James Zheng in California wearing a scarf inside, sitting at his desk. Like, things don't make sense, right? But there are a lot of things that actually do make sense. And you heard James say it, you heard Pam say it, Chris and Gracie. It is all about taking action today. Don't wait to January 1st. Don't wait to January 31st. It is about getting involved today, because it's all about putting people in the pipeline. And this is a lesson from a long time ago. Is I decided to do an Ironman triathlon. And I had never swam laps. I never ran more than a mile, and I did not own a bike. But I took on this epic challenge, and it took me 3 years to get into the race. It takes a while to get into the race, and then it's a year later that you actually run it. And I never missed a day of training, because I knew I had to run 2 miles, because I knew in 6 months I had to be running 10. And you can't get VIP 3 in the Catalyst Club until you sponsor 1. And you can't become a senior officer until you hit manager. You have to go through the process and the steps. And we all want to title up. We all want to be chair 1, chair 2, chair 3. We all just want to keep growing our businesses. But you don't get there unless you engage and start today. And everyone's got to have that first step. Everyone's going to have that first day. And then in the Ironman training, I did it with some buddies locally, and they were all marathoners. So they all qualified for Boston Marathon before. So they had all that life experience to be able to go build it. And they got to the training faster than I did, because they were already engaged in that part of their life. And you're looking at some people today, you got James. I witnessed James in Tahiti on the phone. He's over there walking around. You knew what he was doing. He was going VIP 3. He did not wait. Now, James seems like he's a really intelligent guy, but the fact that he didn't put sunscreen on in Tahiti does make him questionable on his intelligence level, but he did see the opportunity to be able to go and take massive and immediate action. And then it comes back down to, you said it earlier, is, the top 3 things you need to do in this industry is don't quit, and don't quit. I mean, those are the 3 keys to being successful in this industry. If you want to sit and gripe and complain, you're probably not active. If you think like, well, it doesn't work, well, you're probably not working. And so it just comes down for me, and wrap it up. I know we've gone really long here, and it's been an absolutely fantastic call, but don't wait. Don't wait to miss the opportunity of the catalyst. Don't wait to miss the opportunity of the Slender Ice Challenge. Take advantage of all those little wins, because that's how you stack things to get the success down the road.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tracy. I know I put you on the spot there, but I know he always has great words of wisdom. I want Pam to know something. I've been on these calls and doing this particular Saturday call for over 6 years. And before anybody ever heard of Zoom, I was using Zoom. I wish I'd bought stock. I made my mistake there. I did not buy Zoom stock. Should have known about it's going to be massive. But Pam, you've been, I always talk about being the old guy on the call. Now I got somebody my age. And I'm like, dang, she's kind of calling me out, if you don't call it the way I look at it. And I've got somebody right here that's like, I've been making excuses. It's time for me to kind of kick back and just enjoy the fruits of my labor. So what she doesn't know is I done wrote a list of 6 people that I had in contact with just because of Pam. So I'm like, I guess she's going to make me work harder, because I'm going to get to the next level during the holidays. I can preach it, but I don't always walk the walk. And because you can just use the excuse, I've done my part, I don't need to do that anymore. But I'm going to do a little more because of that. And by the way, Tracy, I did not know your story about the Ironman. I did not know you'd never done a triathlon. That's the kind of that's like saying I want to be VIP, what is it, chairperson level 7 before you ever get to be team lead bonus. I mean, it's like the very beginning. I mean, like that's going to the ultimate, but you did it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, we are running over. I hope everybody has gotten something. Pam, thank you so much. We're going to have Pam back. I'm going to just call her out right now, let her agree that she's going to come back, and we're going to call it the old person's TikTok training. And we're not going to let anybody like James on that can tell us how we're doing bad. We're going to take it. It's going to be, we may have to have a special call, 50s and over social media. Or 45 and over social. Look at me applauses I'm getting. The other people, if you want Pam to come back and teach social media, we're going to call it no, you can't get on unless you verify your age. You got to be over 40 to get in the call. We're going to check IDs. That way we can ask questions without feeling stupid, because I'm like, I don't have a TikTok. All right, that is the correct thing. TikTok, right? Not TikTok. I don't have a TikTok. I do have a Snapchat, right? I ain't never used it, but I got it. So I'm not a social media guy, but I build anyway. But I want to learn more tools to give me more stuff. Pam, thank you so much. James, as always, you inspire me. You're a special person. Benny, Gracie, I mean, good friends for a long time. They're awesome people. And that, I don't know if you could have, if you didn't get anything out of this call, I think you got the fact these people lead with the heart. People talk about it. Man, so many people talk about leading from the heart. The question is, can you see it? I can see it in them. I do. I feel it. I feel it from them. So thanks for being on, Tracy. Thanks for letting me put you on the spot. You always add great things to it. There's so many leaders on here. My goodness, what a great call. Guys, have a great Saturday. We'll be back next week. Some great things coming. I'm not going to reveal till next week who's going to be on, but we've got 2 or 3 great guests. We got our new Darren Zorbis is coming up soon. He's our CEO. We have some amazing things about to happen with this company. You know what? I'm going to end with one thing, because I get a lot of phone calls, and I get people who are whining about things, and then I got others that are not. And they're going to come back to me in 6 months, those are whiners, and say, what happened? Well, you looked at things wrong. You don't approach things the right way. And that, we got a great situation about to happen. I'm just convinced we're going to see something in 2023. I believe will be the biggest year in the company's history. Could I be wrong? Could be. I'm not going to take a chance and not do my work to make sure I'm part of it. I want to be a part of it. I see it. I think Tracy believes it. I know James believes it. And I know there's a whole lot of leaders out here. I think we got the dream team. So anyway, have a great Saturday, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being on. Unmute the lines for us. Anthony.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Great,
everyone.
great.
For having
Great,
me.
great folks.
And
Thank you.
You guys